Take your dealership to the next level with over 6,800 on-air interviews with dealer and industry leaders. CBT News, dealers' most trusted source for news, content, and analysis. Welcome to CBT News with Cheyenne Malone.
Hi everyone, I'm Cheyenne Malone. It is Tuesday. Welcome back to CBT News. Here are today's top stories.
According to environmental law attorneys, a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision limiting federal regulatory powers could undermine President Joe Biden's effort to reduce vehicle tailpipe emissions. The court's 6-3 ruling overturned the 1984 Chevron deference, which required judges to defer to reasonable federal agency interpretations of ambiguous law like the Clean Air Act. This decision may hinder the EPA's ability to enforce strict emission regulations on mobile sources such as cars and trucks. Attorneys Sherry Jackman and David Pettit highlighted the ruling could prompt new legal challenges against Biden's emission rules, especially from industries like oil, which argue the EPA lacks apparent authority under the Clean Air Act to regulate greenhouse gases from mobile sources. The EPA's other climate regulations, such as those targeting power plant emissions, are considered more secure but may still face increased scrutiny. CDK Global anticipates that its services will be fully operational by Thursday, following 2 cyberattacks on June 19th. These attacks forced dealers to resort to manual processing, resulting in an estimated $605 million in direct economic losses within the first 2 weeks and potentially an additional $339 million if the outage continued. Lisa Finney, a CDK spokesperson, mentioned that a phased restoration is currently underway with all dealers expected to be back online by July 4th. The UAW and BMW have reached a tentative contract agreement for workers at BMW's Palmer Township, Pennsylvania Regional Distribution Center, following weeks of negotiations after a June 8th strike vote. The deal includes wage increases and the gradual elimination of a 2-tier payment system over 5 years, ultimately standardizing wages at $28.92 per hour, a 33.58% increase. Roughly 120 workers are employed at the center, which handles parts and motorcycle distribution in North America. A ratification vote is expected next week, with informational meetings for workers in the coming days. This agreement is part of the broader UAW stand-up strike movement, but is separate from the UAW's effort to organize non-union auto plants in the U.S. BYD set a new record for plug-in electric cars in June, delivering over 340,000 units, surpassing its previous peak in December 2023. This includes over 15,000 EVs from its sub-brands. The company saw a 35% year-over-year increase with all-electric car sales at roughly 145,000 units, though growth was modest at 13%. BYD also sold over 1,400 commercial electric vehicles. In the second quarter of 2024, BYD sold a record of 983,000 passenger plug-ins, up 40% from the previous year. Year-to-date sales have reached over 1.6 million units, a 29% increase. However, despite its success, whether BYD can surpass Tesla in an all-electric car sales by 2024 remains to be seen. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back with John and Katie McCann, authors, husband and wife team, and founders of consulting firm Greenleaf Leadership, to discuss what it truly means to lead an organization.
Take your dealership to the next level with over 6,800 on-air interviews with dealer and industry leaders. CBT News, dealers' most trusted source for news, content, and analysis.
What are some key reasons that managers fail?
I think a lot of managers fail. There's probably a ton of reasons, but the ones that I've seen probably over my tenure, probably one of the biggest ones is most people don't really want to be in a manager position to begin with. I feel like as a culture, we groom people. They go to work, they get a job, they feel like they have to take a promotion. That's just what they're supposed to do. They don't really want to be a leader. They don't want to be a manager. Companies promote within a lot of times, which is a really great, effective tool to retain people. But just because you're really good at doing something does not mean you're going to be really good at leading somebody doing that. Another thing that I have seen is monetary increases seem to be a driving factor. A lot of people I've seen even looking for jobs, or they don't even look at the job responsibility. They just go in and how much am I going to make? What's the benefits? They have the mindset that once I become a manager or a leader, I don't really have to do anything, when it's exactly the opposite. They have to do so much more. A lot of times companies of different sizes, when they become a manager or a leader, they're now in charge of people that they used to hang out with on a regular basis. The social aspect, they have a really hard time distancing that. They can't hold their friends accountable anymore. They end up doing a lot more work than they were supposed to, and that can really have a negative effect across the team. And probably the biggest reason I see too is just a real lack of higher level support. Somebody gets promoted, they get thrown into a leadership position for whatever reason that it is, and then they're just left out there to swim, sink or swim, basically. They don't have anybody above them that actually mentors them, that checks in on them, that holds them accountable to see how they're actually doing. Because being a leader is a lot of extra stresses that you don't necessarily have, and that can take a toll. So having that support system above you that's checking in on you, seeing how your mental health is, how you're doing, is crucial as well.
Well, that does it for us for today. But remember, it is easy to stay up to date with the most recent news and trends influencing the retail automotive industry. All you have to do is follow us. We're on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm Cheyenne Malone. You have a good one.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content.